And we are live. Brought to you by we went to St. Louis this weekend. It was Monst's grandma's 72nd birthday, and every single time I go there, my allergies get so slammed. It doesn't matter what I take. My voice is a little raspy right now.
Now you moved even more east, you're gonna suffer even more, pal.
Do you think so? That's not good. That's not good.
Always.
Oh, and there it is.
Yep, we're good to go, man.
All right. Awesome. Okay. Now I will click the record button so I don't forget that.
It is go time.
Let's do it.
And here we go. Thank you for tapping into some Untapped Keg. The host... I messed that up. Let's try this again. Thank you for tapping into some Untapped Keg. The podcast about sobriety, mental health, and just life. We're here with myself, RJ Zimmerman, my good friend, Monte Ball. How you doing, big fella?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm alive. I'm well. I'm excited. Very, very excited, especially the guest that we got coming on. So it's going to be pretty good, man. Pretty good. He's got an awesome story. Really heartfelt story that I think our listeners most definitely going to enjoy. But how are you doing, man? RJ, how's everything going for you, man?
I'm good. Suffering from a little bit of allergies, but it's starting to go away now. It's getting better. One day at a time, right?
Absolutely.
Not just sobriety, but allergies too. So as you said, we have a special guest. We are super excited. We're very honored to be joined by co-founder and CEO of Here Now Help, Bill Gerlach, or as some refer to him, King Bill. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. How you doing?
Good, man. Thanks, guys, for having me and carving out the time. Monte is something we've talked about for a little while now. So I'm ready for it, and I'm excited, and hope everyone's having a good Monday so far.
Yeah, man. I think we're excited to have you because we've been communicating for the last 2-3 months. Obviously about all the great work at Here Now Help, but also getting you here on the podcast. So by this coming to fruition is an exciting thing. It feels very, very good. And I'm just excited for people to obviously get to know some information about Here Now Help, why you started it, and obviously more information about yourself, the team there, all of the above. So RJ, man, I guess let's go ahead and just jump right into it, huh?
All right.
Get right into this bad boy.
Let's do it.
So Bill, why don't you start? I've been, Monsters has been showing me what you've been building, and it's really exciting. For those who don't know, what is Here Now Help, and how did you kind of start?
Yeah, great question. So Here Now Help is kind of like a 5-in-1 solution from everything from recreating that barrier to entry into rehab, right? For myself and many others, family members, that barrier to entry to rehab is hard. It's why do we have to hit rock bottom to go into rehab or get care? That's the common story. And then on the flip side of it, it's okay, during care, I get it, but what about aftercare? I'm out of the door, no matter if it's a rehab facility, a PTSD situation, even in your community, it's, well, what about my continued care? And what we doing right now, and we'll get into my story later, but what we're doing right now is based on personal experience, working in the market for over a decade, hands-on, and seeing the need for that ease of use and adaptability to our times. Because of COVID, everyone's now a mental health, candidate, right? Where we're all kind of reaching out for some care. So what we're doing is building apps for communities, veteran programs, rehab and addiction treatment centers, which is over 19,000 in the US alone right now, of customizing applications for them, customizing care for them, so they can create an easier barrier to entry to get people in and curious about their care programs, but more importantly, have an output and a continued care solution on the aftercare side of things. And then also while the in-care solution. So we kind of fit that whole mold as to where people are just going, oh man, rehab's a big first step, right? Or I'm not going to even touch it. And sadly, I just read a stat. There was something on CNBC tonight. I think we had over 90,000 overdose deaths last year. And that number climbing. And it's sad because, I argue how many of those people didn't even want to go into rehab center, right? Or miss that opportunity for care. So, we're kind of bringing this interpersonal solution customized to all different sectors, across the nation right now in the world. And we're excited about it.
Absolutely. I think, and again, yeah, we're most definitely going to get more into Here Now Help and more into obviously your story, Bill. But I really wanted to revisit that statistic that you did share because I just heard that statistic and actually checked it out as well to fact check if it was true or not, of course. And it is. I just heard that about 6-7 days ago. So yeah, again, guys, what I'm talking about here is what Bill stated, where the 90,000 overdoses, correct? Yeah, of last year. And because of the pandemic, man, I really want you to kind of touch on that again and to really kind of share with us, like, what does that mean for you? That number just keeps increasing, unfortunately.
And we'll get into my story too, but
yeah,
2 years ago in August, my brother was one of those numbers. He was my best friend. He was my roommate. He did the struggle with me. I'm in recovery myself over 2 years or 3 years now.
Congratulations.
But he went one way and I went another. And he got caught up in that statistic alone, even before in 2019. And it was just unfathomable for us. We were the family going, this can't happen to us. I was the guy going, this can't happen to me. BS. It's the inevitable these days. And it's, what are you doing as a family? What are you doing as even a generation to prepare yourself for what's coming? And it's just, it's unfathomable. I mean, I read that 90,000, if you equate that to the days that are in the year, it's crazy. And we need to stand up, and educate and provide, I think.
Yeah. I appreciate you revisiting that because I want for people to really take time to think about that and let that sink in. 90,000 last year. That's a lot. That's a lot. And given the pandemic, I always state this, people going into the pandemic may not have had any sort of mental health barriers, mental health disorders or what have you. But I think coming out of this pandemic bubble, whenever that time comes, I think people are going to be coming out with things that they didn't go in with. So that's why we here at Untapped Keg really like to harp on this stuff about mental health, making sure that you are really taking time away from the busy schedule to focus on your mind, because we understand what we're living through right now. So Bill, man, I really want for you to share with us, why you started Here Now Help. I know you touched on it there briefly, but I know it's not an easy topic, but it's obviously important to you. I'd love for you to share.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, dating back, let's go back. I mean, out of college, got a job at Paychex. We were in the biggest recession we've ever seen in years, right? That was 2008, 9, some of the most expensive payroll product, and I was one of those, I'm not going to fail, right? I was the B2B sales guy. And for 9 months, I was on President's Club pace, just going for it. And I got tapped on the shoulder to get into medical sales. It was great. It was phenomenal. That wasn't my goal. That's where I heard where all the money was at, right? All these athletes got into medical sales and device sales. And why can't I, right? So I'm this nobody going in where these guys are getting plucked out and recruited, essentially. And I started with a company called Millennium Labs at the time, now they're Millennium Health. They were a toxicology company. So we worked with the pain management guys that prescribed all the opiates to everybody. and also rehab and addiction centers that urine tested their clients. And I was like the 180th hire, 200th hire. This company was built into $1 billion organization, but it was built on kind of dishonesty. We were just telling people to urine test people. We didn't care about the results or anything. They were taking $4,000 from insurance. Instant reads were reimbursed at $300. I was making all this money at the time. I moved up. I started managing regions and then the eastern part of the United States, and then eventually left the company to build my own business and building labs throughout the United States. But it was an unfulfilling job. And through this journey, I was working so much. I was working, crazy. I was on a plane 6 days a week, flying 150,000 miles a year. And I was put on pain medications. One of my doctors, a client of mine, was like, yeah, you have complex renal pain syndrome. And I did. I fell down the stairs in college, never got help, but I never went to chiropractic. I never did anything holistic. I never dieted. I gained 30 pounds, was put on pain medication. And then one day this guy goes, oh, I'm not using you for urine tox solutions. And then I'm not getting medication. I'm going, oh my God, I'm heavily addicted to pain medication. I have a whole life to live. So it was a 4 or 5 year lapse of calling friends and people who I knew had pain medication, and then essentially buying off the street until my world came crashing down. Depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts. What you can imagine I had all the money in the world. I spent it all, everything gone. Humility set in and didn't know where to turn. And that was the crazy part. So I'm going, wait a minute. I work with these guys every day, rehab and addiction centers. I work with the people I'm supposed to know, but I have no idea where to turn right now. It's 3:00 in the morning. My head's spinning. I have no idea who I can talk to. Why can I get an Uber or a food right now, but I can't talk to anybody when I'm close to ending it all? And boom, this idea hit me like a lightning bolt. And I'll never forget it. I was in the park where I lived in New York City at the time. And I called my now fiance, so excited about this idea, this epiphany that I had. And this gentleman taps me on the shoulder. And he goes, I just heard everything you said. I'm building something like that. I will help you start. I had no idea about tech. I knew no techies. I knew nothing. This guy literally sat in my apartment and helped me build the first steps. Then my brother's friends, right before he passed, helped me out. USC grad, starting building the look of and feel of it. And then my brother passed, and then we all vowed to just never give up. And this has a place. It was, sadly, my family almost calls him a martyr. That this was just something that happened. But you know what? We're going to live every day and fight every day in his name, because there's everybody out there like him. There's people probably listening to this right now that are going, man, I never knew where to turn, or I was embarrassed, and so forth. So here we are, in the here now. My original idea is to create something different in an open network. But where we're at right now is we're customizing and changing the way rehab and addiction centers, veteran organizations, communities, cities and states, they offer mental care to their community. And what we're doing is we're taking their already resources and just bridging the two with technology and creating customized care routines, daily schedules, journal entries, outlooks, surveys. You name it, we can do it. Into offering that 24/7, 365. And you know what? It's interesting. We're on calls and people ask, well, who compares to you? Are you like BetterHelp or or Talkspace? No, they bridge expensive counselors, but we're more on the peer level, because for me, I didn't want to talk to a counselor that's going to yes me for an hour. I wanted to talk to somebody that went through it, like you, Mate, and so forth. That's where and that's my start. And then you can get there for sure, but we're shaking up the industry. And that's kind of the story.
That's a good thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead, RJ.
I was going to say,
I've read.
Going back to one of your earlier answers, you said that generations are going to have to when we're talking about the 90,000 deaths, generations are going to have to come to terms with it. Part of it starts with what Mons and I kind of set out to do, and that was help eliminate the stigma, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, when you went into looking rehab, where do you start? Where do you turn? Well, there's such a stigma with rehab. Like, as soon as you even think about it, you're like, I'm not broken. I don't need rehab. Why? I'm not that broken. Like, I can fix this. I can put it together. And you keep putting it off and putting it off until it's inevitable. But when we, like, you're here now, help right now, talking to somebody, like, talking to Mons, or Mons could talk to me, or, you talking to somebody else, it's so much easier to just the level of understanding that's there is just that's amazing. And I think that could be understated a little bit, and I hope that it's not, because that's really exciting. And I mean, this is really exciting. So going from the generations trying to deal with this opioid crisis, and it is our generation, we're dealing with it right now. You're a parent as well now. Mental health, how we talk about it, it's so key and it's so different. And I mean, it really is our generation that are finally starting to bring it to the forefront. I think it started a little bit with the generation in front of us, but what we're doing right now, I think, is even pushing it further. So how do you think removing the stigmas around mental health will help with maybe, somebody saying, I don't have a dependency issue yet, but I could, and then stepping back from it completely before it gets to a bad level?
I mean, it's a great point, right? And that's what I think we're seeing happen. We've had some interest from a lot of even current NFL, and you're even seeing like Darren Waller, tight end for the Oakland Raiders. That's somebody we've been in talks with, and
Jordan Poyer.
Safety
for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, but Darren comes out with this story, and his teammate then comes publicly out like, because of Darren, now I'm going to share my story. And so I think we're finally seeing, sadly, because of COVID, we're seeing some big names finally rip down the taboo, right? And then we need to create a culture that's not shied upon, it's not frowned upon. We're not belittling people for talking about it. Actually, we need to praise them. That goes for everybody, from who's our biggest, for kids, when my kids are in school, I want their teachers and their supporting staff to understand that maybe they need to take a time out of the room, or, maybe schools need to implement, look, all kids are on their phones these days, use it in a positive way of getting them out and connecting with somebody like-minded and venting, right? We need to tear down this whole bubble of just completing like solidarity and bundling up, because then we explode. And that's essentially what I did over years and years and years. But if we vent, I mean, I'll never forget the first time I stepped into NA and I vented and I got a hug, and it was, my whole life changed. I mean, my whole life changed like that. And I only wished so many people I knew going down the same path that experienced that at the same time as me. More importantly, my brother. But here's the thing. I brought him to an NA meeting, but he wasn't ready yet. And he looked around and he goes, I'm not like these people. I'm not like these people. Fair enough. But go find your niche and go explore. And my brother was on his phone 24 hours a day. Right. Why not that being starting point? And we've never used it as a community as a starting point. We can get food in the car that way and everything else under the world, but why not focus about our mental health that way? And that's where we're going.
I like that. I like that a lot, because you're very, very passionate about this, obviously, for reasons that you just shared. And I think that's just most definitely, it's so important, man. It really, really is important, especially when you mentioned about how when folks share their stories, it encourages others to share their stories. And obviously multiple voices are more powerful than one, especially if we're all aiming to tear down that stigma. So the questions, man, the question that I have for you, you obviously can't share names, you can't do that, but some of the success stories that you've heard from folks or businesses that have utilized Here Now Help, just so our listeners can understand how much of a need there is for this. So
Right,
like,
yeah.
what are some of those stories, man? I can only imagine.
Yeah, I mean, so one of our biggest things is for alumni. Like, what are you doing when they leave your doors? And I'll never forget this. One of my first cold calls, this lady goes, I don't care what happens to them when they get out of the door. This is I'm getting reimbursed for when they're in here. Oh, wow. I took the subway to and knocked on her door the next day. And long story short, now she's a potential client. So I pretty much just went, are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding?
What kind of an attitude is that? Like,
but that is almost the mindset. I have a love-hate relationship with rehab centers. And look, there's 19,000 of them out there. No two stories are the same. No two rehab centers are the same. I get that. But what my argument is why not offer the best care possible? Right. And so for that, is, well, for their aftercare, why not set up an alumni program? Because in a sense, if that person, and look, we have a 80% relapse rate in America, especially for narcotics. At some point in time, we're going to slip and fall. Who's there to catch us? 90% of the time, it's our family and friends. And our family and friends are the biggest referral sources of placing people and so forth. Well, why not keep in touch with those alumni, share events, let them get on message boards and communicate and share with each other, help each other out. But also in the event that they fall, now they can come back into you. And then through us, you already have all their data that has been done through their care program. So you can tailor a more customized care approach the second time around or the third time around, so that's the biggest, push there in what we really at, but also, the easier barrier to entry and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. I think obviously our audio listeners will be at a disadvantage here, but what are you guys' thoughts on the sharing the screen here? And let's see some Here Now Help, huh?
Yeah, let me I was thinking of that. 1 second.
Yeah, absolutely. So then our people who right now are tuning in via YouTube Live can actually see exactly what we're talking about here. And to our audio listeners, please check us out on YouTube at Untapped Keg. Whenever you do get the opportunity to listen to this, you'll be able to check it out. But Bill, man, I think it's most definitely important. Your passion is literally pouring out right now because of obviously you've dealt with loss, you've dealt with many things, and you have lived experience yourself as well. So I most definitely love hearing this stuff. So when it comes to Here Now Help, man, when it comes to an individual wanting to use this Here Now Help, the question I got for you is, what should they expect? What's the number one thing that they should expect that differentiates you guys from, I think you may have already touched on, but I want you to touch on it again, from the Better Helps, from the Talk Space or whatever they're called. No offense to those companies.
No, great question. Right. First and foremost, it's customization. So we brand, we logo, we color brand, but more importantly, if you're different spiritualities or ideologies, we implement that text and complex into our systems for you. So there, right then and there, you have a tailored approach. 2, it's 24/7, 365. So as a user, you're going to know if I'm on the platform, these companies have agreed to, if I'm needed at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, when I'm staring at the ceiling, going through it, they're going to be there for me. Right. And then also that continued care and pre-care approach. So we're with you for the whole entire journey, not just a piece of it. And I think that's the biggest takeaway. I mean, that's the value. We've literally entered a new market from top to bottom, and we'll tee something up. We have a little demo video that we can just kind of run through and the viewers can kind of see. And I know this will be recorded so they can peel back, but it'll show the depth of what we do. Again, everything from starting your day to daily goals, to my calendar, to meditation readings, to your journal outlook. How are you feeling today? How was your outlook today? Do you want to talk, text, and FaceTime with people? We just merged with an amazing company, and now we do guided mindfulness meditations that are just phenomenal. So we're now, we're not just a mental health company, but we're a tech company. And what I mean by that is we can develop, add, subtract, and fully customize the experience to anybody out there in the nation, whoever's listening, and that's the beauty about it. We're also in a massive tech incubator out of New York City called New Lab that gives us access to technology and actually pretty wild, everything from virtual reality to AI, things we're looking at. So the technology and implementation into mental health is bright. We have our eyes set on some really cool things. So it's exciting. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
VR.
Oh yeah, VR. So think about this. So for vets, we have a company we're talking to, and I won't name names, so those poachers out there, but we have a company that can incorporate smells. So you can, like, say if you're an addict, right, and you want to create safe environments, but you smell marijuana, alcohol, whatever it may be, right, but you can now cope in a safe environment because they'll just incorporate that smell through your VR device, and you can do it over and over and over again with the counselor. But you can learn how to not fold in the presence at a bar or at a party and so forth, right? What about virtual reality? If I'm a vet, we have but if we create a world, so let's say under Mount Everest or in Madison, Wisconsin, and we have all the vets on a VR device, but they can gather at 9 p.m. on a Monday, and they can, all over the world, they can gather and vent to each other and do one-off conversations virtually. What about that? So, look,
sweet.
There's more things, but the future's bright. I think for care in general, technology it's never been used in care before, right? I mean, if anything in treatment, it's been taken away from us. Let's use these things that our brilliant minds in the U.S. and abroad have brought us and implement them in good ways, and I think we're apt, and we have the team to bring that forward.
You're right. I mean, where we're at right now in society, AI is already too late to stop.
Yeah.
So we might as well utilize it in every single facet of our lives. So I'm most definitely picking up what you're putting down right there. Let's go ahead and show off this demo video, man, huh?
Yeah. If you want to share or make me the host.
Yeah. Hey, don't kick us out, man. All right.
There you go. Yeah.
That would be hilarious. All right, let me make you the host, man. There you go. Boom.
You're about to see technology is not necessarily our forte.
No. Two amateurs, man. But this is some wonderful stuff.
Yep. And can you guys see it?
Yep.
So I'll kind of let this play through, guys, and for all the viewers, I won't stop and pause and regurgitate on things, but you'll move quick, but just try to take a glance at it and let me know what you guys think. So everyone has their own access code, so it's proprietary for even each location at rehab centers or locations and so forth. Chat room functionality.
So like a little community. You can build yourself a little community, huh?
Exactly. Your support group.
Yep.
Meditations are a big part. Welcome to meditation to perform trauma hygiene. This is a big data approach to tracking your daily progress, your journeys.
So what we're seeing here is essentially we're seeing this full wraparound care with pretty in-depth data.
Right.
That obviously becomes extremely important. It's important, obviously, in the moment, but that post care that you're talking about
Exactly. Right.
If they slip, if they fall, then you got a baseline, you got some data to refer back to. And
Like, what if
kind
they
of like
were
watching
logging?
film.
Right. Oh, here goes geolocation services. This is all like at a needed basis, or like if the client wants to give visibility to people. But that came up from a client experience that I'll touch on after this.
And you can see what you're building there, and that's, that's something to keep your hopes up too.
Right.
Hey, Vanessa.
Hey, Johnny. How's it going? How are you?
It's going all right. Thanks. Thanks so much.
Video call. Oh yeah, obviously.
If you have some time.
Like your
Absolutely.
normal
It's nice to
telehealth
meet you. How can I
services,
help
talk,
you?
text, FaceTime.
Well, sure.
So it's literally everything in one.
Surveys, right. So, what we tell people, and this is our admin dashboard, this is what the administrators, the people that manage the programs see, and then they can kind of like manipulate or query with people. But that helps with your managed outcomes, and that's the biggest thing in rehab right now, specifically, even with your veteran programs, communities, and so forth, are managed outcomes, letting me understand the client before I get them or when I get them. It's just it's a massive thing. It's a big data thing. You can see when people log in and so forth. Then we also have geolocation. That came up from a client we had early on in beta, and somebody called in there, go, I'm drunk driving right now. I'm blah, blah, blah. And they had no idea where they were. And they looked at us and go, my God, I wish we knew where they were right now, so we could call the cops, send help, and so forth.
Right.
Boom,
right.
In came that little piece. So, that's why I say we're a technology company. We listen to our clients. No two clients are the same. Like recovery and addiction, no two stories are the same. So we're here to offer a lot, as you saw. But what we do is we can start very small with people on a couple features and then let them blossom. With our competitors, it's what you see is what you get, and we're not about that. We're about customer service, hand-holding, familiarity, community. We are a family. It's that approach to building a long-lasting relationship, I think, of care.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that part, because that's what I'm noticing here. RJ, I'm just gonna say this next point, and the floor is yours, man. I've been hammering away here at questions, but
I'm used to it. Don't worry.
that customization aspect to it, I think, is very, very important, especially when, as you've already stated, it's every single person is different. Every case is different. There's a million ways up the hill. Not everybody takes the same path. So I think that customization component is extremely important. And I think that is something that folks really need to tune in on, because that customization and your own specific data, being able to track me where I'm at if I am drinking and driving. That's literally like having your pal in your pocket, like someone extremely reliable, always on you, always on your person.
Stuart Little. It's like you have little mouse that can drive in your pocket,
Yeah. Look, and at the end of the day, it's change, right? And us as humans, the way we've been uploaded, we are resistant to change, So it's interesting, the feedback that you get, but then you get these companies that then reach out to us and are going, no, we're already down that path. We've already thought about this. We vetted 2 other companies. Forget them. We're going with you. And it's very interesting to see this whole polar shift going on. And I think it sadly was because of COVID and other things. Because again, technology like this has just never been implemented. Traditionally, you did your 30 days, you were out. Well, now we're finding out that, look, 45 days it takes for drugs and alcohol to get out of your system fully. For me, it took a year for that cloud to kind of lift over me and my brain to kind of rewire itself. And
right.
But I'm going, well, wait a minute. What are ways I could have sped that up? And I think it would, if I had things like this of creating a daily schedule, a routine, accountability, daily meetings, like I was in a 9 to 5, but in my treatment more so, I would have come out the gate swinging. I think I would have saved a lot of time, and time is money these days for everybody. So,
very good point, man. Very good point.
It's amazing how adaptable, you are with this. Like you said, you're based on religion. You could go one way based on, that's so amazing. And it's one of those things that when you're talking about substances, when you're in it and you're not ready, there's nothing you can do. So even if just having this app, knowing it's there, that one night you could just be in a space where you could just want to talk to somebody, and then that will help set the stage for you to reach out again, is just that's super important and wonderful.
My partner brought up a great point is, how often are you going to pick up the phone when somebody randomly calls you?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a lot of these centers do for people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But more, okay, well then let's flip it. And how much more are you going to pick up the phone when it's scheduled? Or more importantly, if you need to get feedback on your own time and no one's even calling you. And that's what we're creating. We're arguing that our data points are more valid than the next guy's. Right now, a lot of rehab centers, Monte, you probably know this, but like they have to do surveys on your discharge to see if you had effective care. They're finding out a lot of these times they're not that, I'm not going to say fraudulent, but honest, right? Because if I'm getting called, I'm going, yeah, I'm rushing you off the phone. Well, what about a survey on your own time and so forth, right? And you have to fill it out in like 30 days upon discharge on the app. Then you're getting, but again, that's just centralized better care and feedback for the addiction center or the community or a vet program and so forth. And I think it's on us as humans to give us a better chance. Enough is enough. 90,000 people, why do we have like such a high relapse rate? We're not all lost souls. And I think we all need to find a purpose in life. And that's what we need to buy time to give people a chance to do. And we're offering that help for people.
That's brilliant. See, when it comes to when you throw that number, man, out, that 90,000 people, it's obvious when you look at the data, when you look at how the data has grown over the last decade. Obviously, the 30. I saw you were a little hesitant, obviously, to share your true, I guess, critiques about rehab centers. But let's just be honest. The data shows that they're not truly working. 30 days is not long enough.
And you're probably just a number.
Expensive,
right?
You're just a number. You're just a bed. Exactly. That's really what it is. Go ahead.
I mean, I'll be dead honest. For me, you know what I did looking at the industry for 10 years? And I locked myself in a room. I went through acute withdrawals, the whole nine. I go, I'm not burning. I didn't have the money for that at the time. $60,000 go pay insurance. Right. I mean, I'm not going to put my parents through that. Right. I mean, I literally locked myself in a room and completely resurrected myself. But you know what? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And there are certain things for alcoholism and benzos. You need guided medical attention. Do not get me wrong. Right. For opioid withdrawal, some other things, you can survive. And I learned my biggest lesson going through that. And I got out of that going, oh my God, I'm never putting myself through that again. But that was after about the 6th time that I've really done it. Because I hit my rock bottom. I didn't have work left. You know what? Somebody told me the other day, go, man, my phone's ringing so much. Oh, I was actually getting my hair cut. And my barber was, oh, my phone's ringing so much. I go, you know what, my friend? You're going to have a problem when that thing stops ringing. It's not when it's ringing, but when that thing stops ringing is when you had a problem. And I'll never forget when I was down and out, my phone didn't ring. I went from sales and managing, 30 people and all across the country, my phone not stopping until 1 o'clock in the morning to dead silent. And that was my rock bottom. That was my rock bottom. And thankfully now my phone doesn't stop ringing. So
we got a lot in common, man. We most definitely got a lot in common. And again, just this, please, to our audio listeners, just hop on our YouTube when you get the opportunity. Check us out, check that video out so you can get a feel for Here Now Help. This is important stuff, man. RJ, I'll let you take it away, man.
Yeah, check out herenowhelp.com. That's their website. You know, with the stigmas that we were talking about with rehab centers and rehab mental health, you know, something I kind of thought about the other day is, you know, a lot of people right now, it's very common to hear it's okay to not be okay. But we almost have to flip that a little bit, because it is okay to not be okay. But there's also strength in realizing you're not okay, right? There, you are stronger for realizing that you need to take steps to help yourself, because being the best version of yourself, making sure that you're there for everybody who's important in your life, right? That is the most selfish decision that you can ever make in this world. You know, we've said that before on this show, that when it came to our sobrieties, mine and Matz's, like, it was the most selfish decision that we made, was for us to quit our substances. But you extend that to mental health and everything, and the way that you're approaching it, and with these, you know, all of us young people, and I'm putting us in that too, even though, you know, I just turned 35, you know, we're going like, let's say 45-ish and below young people who grew up with tech, who grew up with the internet, right? Doing this through that, reimagining everything. Like, this is amazing stuff that we need. I don't think that the majority of people understood what we needed, but then with how we treat healthcare in America, we need it even more. And I just want to commend you for that, because it's amazing.
Because Bill, go ahead. Because I was going to throw something.
Well, I was just going to laugh at the two. It's change, right? And I'll never forget the time my parents, I think I was in college when Facebook came out, but they were like, Facebook, laughed about it. I don't even use Facebook anymore, and they're the ones using it, you know, 23 hours a day, right? So, but my hopes are this is going to be technology to where it's utilized for my kids in their generation. We're on to something else, like virtual worlds and with each other.
It's
going
to be augmented reality, not just VR, right?
And I don't think it's if, it's when. You know, when we're on sales calls and so forth, and somebody gives me, I don't know if my clients will do this. Well, they will if you implement it, and you kind of guide them to it. Like, you tell them to go to group and tell them to do these other things, right? It's not an if, it's when. And it's up to society to kind of get there.
You want to know one thing, Bill? First off, great points, man. That RJ as well, man, with you. That was awesome. I think, Bill, man, when you sit here and talk about Here Now Help, when you talk about, you shared some success stories and all that stuff, what I think about when I think about Here Now Help is this: when someone is at that point where they're like, okay, I haven't used a substance for X amount of days, X amount of months, maybe X amount of years, and they're finally starting to get back out there into the world, where, I'll give an example myself, stayed away from bars for so long, just because I just felt I wasn't strong enough to go in and refrain from drinking alcohol. When I think about Here Now Help, I think that this app, this business, this friend really allows for folks to have that confidence. I'm not saying you have to go back in those situations, but having that confidence to step out the door, knowing that they got a pretty strong parachute. They got a pretty strong and reliant friend in their pocket, that is there for them all the time. So that's what I think about, man. And I want to hear your thoughts on that as well. If I'm,
it's a great point. In your pocket, right? And so you're seeing 100, 200 people at a bar, but just know you have 100, 200 people right in your pocket. And if you need to step outside and it gets intense, I can literally, that's the whole point of it, is community of, let me talk to somebody. Let me talk, FaceTime or text somebody right then and there in my network. And that comes from, if I'm alumni from a rehab center, we're all connected and I know everybody from there. If I'm in the community that we've brokered a deal with, or a vet organization, whoever. And that's what it is, you know. And Monte, great point. I mean, I remember early on, you know, early on, I had a relapse where, opiates or anything, I'll go to the bar. Well, I was getting blacked out of the bar. Well, I had no friends there. And again, my purpose came through of, you know what? My friends are on the other side. Maybe they're on my phone, right? Or a phone call away. You know,
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because that's just what I feel, man. That's what I feel. Just right, listening to you talk about it, you showing us what it is, and then obviously giving us further explanation about it. It's that it just builds so much confidence for folks who are actually utilizing it and following through and really trusting the process. That confidence, man.
Yeah.
Because our minds, people in recovery, our minds are quite pessimistic.
To say the least, right?
Yeah. Our
Well,
anxiety
you have to
gets the best.
surrender a lot, right? I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of it is surrendering a lot, reinventing yourself. And also for myself, I'm a very, sociable person. I like seeing now look, I have two kids right now. There is none of that.
Right.
I've been sheltered, quarantined, but I love my friends. I love hosting people and so forth. They drink all the time. They do their things. But I always got in this mindset of, wait a minute, I want to get better holistically and mentally to where I can go back to where I was when I was younger
Oh, yeah.
and not abusing and so forth, right? Creating a normal life for myself of what it used to be before I got to that problem. And I think this helps people sort of, tame that balance. And,
Yep.
and that's a big one.
Balance.
Yes.
Balance.
Yes.
There it is. Balance.
Yes.
I mean, Bill, man, you covered a lot. You covered a lot in a good way, man. We wanted to give you the floor to share your passion, share obviously your business, share information obviously about yourself, your journey, your loss, which we obviously are extremely sorry for. And this is just what we need, man. We need more folks like you who are really thinking outside of the box to help folks like us. That's what this is all about, and that's
Innovation, right?
innovation. And commend you for it. Absolutely, you, the team, every single person who put their hands in the middle and came out with Here Now Help.
Our team is amazing. I mean, again, it stems from the guy that tapped me on the back of the shoulder to, how we got to my family being involved, to how I met my COO, my CTO is, he is just unbelievable. He's been coding since he was 12 years old and has created something beyond something special, managing teams and so forth to Shannon Green, who's in charge of all of our clients and our social media. It was just, again, these people are doing things unselfishly. And we have other people behind the scenes of other companies. Even this guy, Jeff, I got to give Jeff a shout out in Colorado. He is doing sales on the arm for us. I mean, these people we have an army behind us of people that aren't even getting paid yet by us that have said, no, I've heard the story. I've heard the journey. I'm hopping on right now. And I'm getting on right now. And when it all clicks, and it has been clicking, we'll bring them on and we bless them. And now we're a huge, happy family. And, we're just living to just have the conversation to everybody out there that hears this. So,
yeah, heck yeah, man. Heck yeah.
It's amazing.
I'm just letting that sit right there. Heck yeah, man. Go ahead, RJ. Sorry.
I think it's when you listen to people talk about things they're passionate about, it's very easy for that to get contagious, right?
Yeah.
And just listening to you speak about the innovations that your team has come up with, that you have, been the co-founder of, and what you're building here, like it's fun to get excited about the future. And that's something that having hope that's underappreciated when you're going through hard times, and just being able to find the light and some hope, and listening to people like you who are out there just trying to help as many people as possible it's amazing. It's wonderful. It's everything that Mons has said. And thank you.
Thank you, Bill. And I think to sort of get close to here wrapping up, kind of just wanted to give you the floor again, Bill, for any last words you want to have with the listeners. Obviously, in the future, we'd love to bring you back on again, but to kind of wrap up this show, man, like what what you want to leave everybody with, man. Obviously,
Yeah.
we're gonna promo. We'll push it out here now. Help tell people where to go, where to get it. But floor is yours, man.
Yeah, I would just say, don't create any barriers in your lives. Somebody's silent, say something, give them. RJ, I mean, you touched on this. I think the two biggest words in mental health, and I don't correlate, drug abuse with everything. I think it's all stems from mental health. We don't abuse ourselves and go in the gutter when we're completely happy. It all stems from mental health. So, I want to make it clear that, addiction centers, because there's 19,000 out there we're focused on, but no, we're working with our vets. Our vets, oh man, I mean, how many hundreds and hundreds of even active duty vets committed suicide last year? I read a statistic the other day that 22 vets a day die trying to get care in the VA. Not saying that's all mental health, but I'm saying if we can unclog, that journey for people and creating a new starting point and unclogging the hallways there for our communities, bringing our open network there, creating jobs and having peers start with each other, creating, jobs through peer-to-peer counseling, letting us certify them. Pasha Dashgard, Dr. John Brennan and our team are amazing in creating this curriculum that we now can certify people. We have a solution. I just open people up to communicating, taking the first step in reaching out to us or companies like us, because, sadly, because of the last 18 months, we're all suffering in some type of way, even for employers. How are you going to have a healthy team without a healthy-minded employee set? And we all just want to get back to healing and, in a sense of hope. And I think that's kind of what we're creating. In a nutshell. So I thank you guys for the initial talk, and I can't wait for the future.
Oh no, man. We thank you. We most definitely thank you. We always say it. We're just two amateurs just creating a safe space. Just, there's so much negativity on the internet. So we just wanted to go with this route, and we're just blessed to be alive and blessed to just have folks like yourself who again are stepping outside the mold, thinking outside the box, being extremely innovative for the purpose, for the sake of just helping folks like us.
That's what it's all about.
You can't trade that for anything. That's priceless. So thank you, Bill.
People helping people.
Here Now Help team. Thank you. This is awesome. So where can they go, man? HereNowHelp.com. Where can folks go?
Yeah, HereNowHelp.com. We have an Instagram page, we have Facebook as well, but right through our website can send inquiries, and we can, log down your information and get in contact. But the door's open for everybody. Again, everybody's suffering right now in some sort of way. We will never shy away and say no. If we can make something happen, we will.
Absolutely. So. Thank you. That's all I got, man. I think that was all. That was awesome. RJ, go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say, on Android and Apple, do you have apps as well that people can download?
On both, right? So what we do right now is we white label. So it would be for provider and client. And so if you're an organization, we bridge your clients and your providers together, and we go from there. It's a very exciting time.
If people would like to reach out to try and help the cause, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, I would say email me directly at bgerlach@herenowhelp.com. Again, it's B as in boy, GERLACH @herenowhelp.com, or info@herenowhelp.com. And, I will be right there at the end of it, respond very quickly. All we do is work, so, we're not stopping until many, coast to coast gets this, and it's in the hands of many, many, many people. We're on our way. It's exciting.
It's very exciting.
It's wonderful, man. Thank you, man. Thank you, Bill. Here Now Help team. Thank you. Go ahead, RJ.
Thanks for hopping in with us. Once again, we're Untapped Keg Sobriety and Mental Health Podcast, part of the Believe Podcast Network. I'm RJ Zimmerman. That's Monte Ball. You can find us anywhere at Untapped Keg. And thank you to King Bill Gerlach.
I like the King Bill.
It has been a pleasure.
Thanks, gentlemen.
All right, man. We really, really appreciate you.